What's up, guys? This is David Smashman here from Chibi Podcast, and I have a special guest who has been on here a few times. I'm just gonna call you Hipster Paul because that's what we've called you before in the past.
I thought I had a different name. Dang, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been too long. So today in this video, we're gonna actually talk about the new trailer that came out from Netflix for the new Saint Seiya anime, and
or Knights of the Zodiac.
Or Knights of the Zodiac, the English one. Yeah.
There you go.
So we're gonna talk about it because it has generated a lot of hate for a number of reasons. We want to kind of go over those and see if they're justified, and B, like, if there's any merit to watching this. So again, I have the one who has seen it, who's probably the biggest fanboy of Saint Seiya, which again is Hipster Paul. So it's gonna be more of a question answer type of thing. So why are people disliking this so much?
Where to start? There are so many things that I have seen that it drove people nuts. But for the biggest part whatsoever, I mean, if you're watching English, or actually overall, the fact they changed one of the characters into a female character. Saint Seiya is basically bunch of dudes who fight together in order to protect the god of war, Athena, or whatever you call it. Athena. But suddenly, once the Netflix video came about, a couple of days ago, we were all shocked to know that they changed one of the main characters into a girl.
And this is Shun, right?
Shun, yes, that is correct.
Shun. And this is I've kind of researched more about this because I remember watching this, but I can't remember too much about the contents of the show. But I remember one of the things was the fact that Shun was more of a what's the word? Like he was very pacifist.
That is correct.
So he didn't want to fight, but he would fight, when the time needed. And I knew that they were girl, saints. But one of the thing was in the beginning of the series was that if they were to be saints, they'd have to wear masks, because if they took it off, it'd either be for someone they love or there's another reason as well, right?
So basically, in the Saint Seiya story, the way they was set up, only guys or dudes were allowed to fight. That's where all the saints came about. But they have an exceptional rule, I guess, that if you were to wear a women and have to fight, you have to wear a mask. No questions asked.
Right. I think later on, I don't know if this was a canon thing, but I know later on, like, they discarded the masks. Because didn't one of the saints, didn't they show their face, one to Seiya and the other one to Shun? And, like, because they were in love with them?
No, basically, so there is a rule. Like, if you were to see a female warrior without a mask, you either have to kill that person or to fall in love with that person. But that doesn't mean that they will stop wearing their mask whatsoever. Later on, they still wear their mask, and even up to the end of the story, or the continuation of the story, they still wear a mask.
Right. So the big thing here is they're wondering, why did they have to choose or make Shun a girl? And the argument that I've seen is that, he was already kind of feminine in a way, and so changing him into a girl doesn't mean that much. But I kind of feel like they're changing a lot of the lore by doing so.
Yeah, I mean, so basically the person who made those changes, he was the head writer of the Saint Seiya. His name is Eugene Song, and he lives in California. But basically, anyways, when this came out, he opened up his Twitter and trying to answer a couple of questions. He knew for a fact that a lot of people would kind of hate it, but he even said it himself. Like, even within the company, there was a lot of members in Toei Animation that did not like this, but they wanted to change it. Why? Well, because according to his reasoning, he had to be more relevant. It's
Right.
not back in the old days that a bunch of dudes have to fight. Okay, that was okay back then, but he wanted to make it fresher, newer, with different take. And that is not keeping in consideration some of the story, which is contradicts with that as well.
It's funny because if they wanna show relevance, or they wanna show how great female characters can be. And so, I mean, they were like I said, they were female saints, and they actually were really good. They actually had, like, they could have focused on them or made them more integral to the main storyline. I mean, I think that was an alternative they could have thought of, but they, for whatever reason, they're like, no, let's not. Let's change Shun.
Yeah, and yeah, you're right. That was actually the point. They could have just used that. They have many great characters in there that they can use female characters, but they decided to change it because Shun, he's more central to the story, and they didn't want to keep it just okay. This is just one female character, and that was about it. No, they wanted to have Shun to be more of the developed character and all. And the thing about him, well, in the original manga, he's like the youngest. He's 13. He's the most innocent pacifist, and he wants to not fight. But that's what makes him like a really cool character, because it doesn't actually have to show that all guys have to be like really tough or wanting to fight. He was the exception to that, and there's a lot of people that like that character because of that. And not to mention that eventually in the story, later on in the story, he becomes really important in the story of Saint Seiya. So,
yeah, it's like I said, I think it's a huge battle that's happening between people. I think and it's funny because most of the Western audience, at least in North America, aren't too well versed in Saint Seiya. But if you're Hispanic, like most of them grew up on that, and in Japan it's called Captain Tsubasa, and in Spanish it's Super Campeones. Like those, like changing those things for them is like, for me is like changing Dragon Ball, making Goku a girl or making Vegeta a girl, something like that.
Yeah.
In to put it into layman's terms or terms you understand, and that sucks. And one thing that I brushed over that I didn't realize was did they change how they wear the cloths? Because
actually, the way that they're wearing the clothes, it's more original to the story. They did make some changes here and there. It's not like 100%, but it's more close. It's a lot closer than the manga.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
In the anime, originally, all the characters that are wearing, the little helmet outfits, they were not part of the canon. They actually did it just because they wanted to sell toys.
Oh, huh.
So, yeah.
I didn't know that.
So, yeah. So, basically, when I saw the trailer, okay, my initial reaction, well, I was really looking forward to this. Ever since May of 2017, it was announced that they're going to have a Saint Seiya adaptation. So, like, yes, I'm looking forward to this. I even talked to some of my buddies that are really like, into Saint Seiya, and they were telling me, yeah, well, I'm looking forward to this. Once the trailer arrived, first of all, I didn't watch the Saint Seiya in English. I know they actually shows, like, they broadcasted a couple of episodes.
They did. It's very, very different. I did watch it in Spanish, and then I did watch it in English, and they censored it way, way bad, and it was just one of the worst dubbings you could ever hear. Like, it's a product of 90s dubbing that was just bad. But yeah, they did show part of it, and they took out the whole Saint Seiya part. They just called it Knights of the Zodiac.
Right. So I watched like a couple episodes, then I just stopped because it was horrible. But anyway, when I watched the trailer, I was like looking forward to this. Everything was starting pretty good. The animation looked amazing. The way that the characters are designed look pretty cool. But then, at first, I saw something else that would, like, there were a couple of things that really threw me off in the trailer. First of all, the fact that if you see the trailer, there's like helicopters and
I saw
planes.
that.
That's not something that happens on the story. I mean, it kind of did, but nothing to that particular point. What, are they going to be fighting, like, tanks or... I don't know, that was the dumbest thing ever. But I still, okay, I'm going to keep going and watching the trailer. Then later on, you see that the way that they carry their cloth, they usually have a Pandora box, like a little box that they carry to train. Yeah. In this adaptation, you're still able to see the Pandora box, but they have, like, name tags.
That's what I thought. Name tags are a coin. I was like, that's kind of... I don't remember that, and I thought that was weird. But you're saying that's more closely to the manga, right?
Not with the name tags.
Not with the name tags.
Name tags were like it's kind of new. They actually introduced that once the latest Saint Seiya movie came out. The CGI one. That's where they had the idea from.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. I was looking at that looks pretty cool. So I'm gonna keep watching. So that should be fine. Then that's the moment where Shun appears. And I was like, I have to do a double take on that because I was like, what? That doesn't sound like Shun. I had to pause the frame to look really closely at the face, and I noticed that doesn't look like a man. It was actually a woman. And I was like, no, they can't do this to me. So I started watching like a couple of times and like, nah, this can't be right. This can't be right. I don't know how. I don't know too much when it comes to anime dub, so like it's okay. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna go ahead and watch Saints the trailer in Spanish because I actually grew up watching the Spanish show. There is a lot of cool voice actors that really like got me into watching this anime. But when I start watching the anime, that's where another problem begins. As I watched the trailer, everything seems kind of cool. I was able to see that they had some of the voices from the original anime into the Netflix show.
Isn't Seiya the original one?
No.
Okay,
and this is what it was the biggest thing for a lot of Saint Seiya fans, like especially Latin American fans, because the guy who does the voice of Saint Seiya, he passed away not that long ago.
Okay.
So we know that we knew that they were gonna change the voice of the character, but once we started hearing Seiya's voice, it was horrible. He sounded like an amateur, and I was shocked, really shocked, especially when he does his like signature move.
Oh yeah, that sounded bad.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people that were hating that, plus the fact that Sean was a girl. And I was able to confirm once again on the Spanish trailer that the voice of Sean was a girl, for sure. So after that, I was like watching some videos and talking to some people, and it got to the point that even the guys, some of the characters that the voice, original characters like Iki, like one of the fighters, one of the saints.
Yeah.
He's back in the show, and he even complained about it. He said, like, I know you guys are not gonna like this, especially with the changes, and you should give it a shot. You should give it a chance to see if it turns out to be a good show or not. But he did complain that the guy who does the voice for Seiya sounded like an amateur, and he was not happy with it.
I don't think anyone would be. Like, you expect great things, especially from Netflix, who has the money to get great actors in there. And again, I don't know what choices were made to have it done, and I think it's just been poor in the execution of what they're gonna do. Again, in the Spanish dub that they're doing, and it just seems like they did everything wrong. And trying to be like, but our intent was to make it relevant. Our intent was to bring a brand new take on this show so that people will like. But it's interesting because I don't know how many people outside of who already know of the show are excited for this. Just because like I said, it was great at its time, but I think as time has gone, like not a lot of people have gone back to watching it, and so you have like this community of hardcore fans,
especially in South America, Central America, and Europe as well. It was pretty big in Europe as well. Yeah,
and you have these hardcore fans, and I don't know how much it's gonna grow. It might even get even smaller because of this, because of it does look like a disservice, and some people might think you're overreacting, but I don't think so.
No, it's justifiable. And they got to the fact that even the head writer who was telling you about, he opened up his Twitter, and a lot of people were asking a lot of questions. And he was also getting a lot of hate, to the point that he had to, like, just stop using his Twitter account. He deleted his account.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Spanish people, man, they were really pissed off at this. There were so many reactions of different YouTubers that said, hey, this is horrible. I can't believe they did this to our show that most of the Spanish community grew up with. It was such a disappointment.
If you look at the trailers, like the English one has like 12,000, I think almost 13,000 dislikes to its like 2,000 or 3,000 thumbs up, and in the Spanish one it has almost double the views as well, but it also has double the negative responses, like 26,000 like thumbs down versus the almost 6,000 thumbs up. Like, you can tell that this is just not sitting well with a lot of people, and there's some people that are okay with it, even like hardcore fans, like Jose Kenpachi Ramasama, like he loves Saint Seiya, but he actually is very not, I guess from what I've talked to, maybe he's different now, but he isn't that turned off by the changes.
I was, and let me tell you, like, I understand they were trying to, especially when they're trying to make Sean into a girl. They want to make like female fighters to stand out a little bit more, and that's fine. But it doesn't. I don't understand the fact that they're doing it now, because just a couple of days ago they just released a new Saint Seiya with all female characters.
Was it called Saint
Seiya
show? Yeah.
I was watching that. I actually watched that episode, and it was pretty cool. It was a little it had a vibe of Sailor Moon plus Saint Seiya,
The magical girl type thing.
a little bit.
Okay.
But the animation, it was pretty good. So like I was quite surprised at that. So I don't understand why, especially now, that they wanted to have a female character in the original story, because if they want to have a adaptation as close to the manga, they should definitely keep things where they were.
Do you think that it would have been better if they had tried to go with what they did a few years back with that CGI movie? Because that was also very different. That was like completely different take and kind of its own thing.
Yeah, it was cool because it was a movie. It wasn't something that had to be closely adapted, and they had a lot of cool ideas into it. Especially the fact that you were able to carry your box in a name tag. I thought it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. So it's like Toei had like I said, they had ideas and they put it into this show, but again that just, I think, little small changes they thought were small are just gonna have huge repercussions. I mean, we'll review the show when it comes out next year. Is it Is it gonna be
summer of 2019?
Summer of 2019. So, yeah, we'll let you know how that goes. I mean, we'll see how it affects the story, because again, I think it might affect the lore of what's going on.
Yeah, because it changes a lot of the story. Like some of the minimal story at the very beginning, but later on, especially when it comes to Shun at the very end, if they continue to,
if it gets that far,
to the manga story. Like the fact that even in the anime show, Shun, he was always being saved by his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they're gonna do that, they're gonna still show to the point that even a female character needs some saving. I don't know. Maybe they will change the story. Who knows?
Could they switch it to like maybe she saves her brother? But again, like that changes so much thing. Like there's a snowball effect that's happening here, and we'll start to see it once we actually see the show. But I can already see it where they're changing things, and it's just gonna end up as something completely different, or they're gonna have to retcon things or change things to fit their narrative to get to the same ending point.
Right. Who knows? Maybe we can all be wrong. Maybe they can show us up and it could be the greatest thing ever. But the fact that they were able to make changes to the original story, that really hurt the fans.
Yeah. So.
And that's something that a lot of fans cannot forget. Especially, we've been waiting for so many years for an adaptation. I know, like, later on they're gonna have like a live action movie coming up as well. But hopefully they don't make those changes as this, because it will be devastated.
We don't need another Omega.
No. But if you actually watch the previous Saint Seiya shows, after the original, you can starting to see that they were trying to implement female characters little by little. But I didn't know they were gonna actually make that change in the original story, and that's the thing that hurts the most. In addition to that, I know they're gonna make some changes when it comes to the name of some of the characters as well, because it's an American adaptation into it. And I don't know how it's gonna be in the in the Japanese version. After I watched the disastrous video of the Spanish one, I tried to search for the Japanese trailer, because I wouldn't mind watching it in Japanese, and that's something that I like a lot. They didn't have it.
They're like, no, let's not do this to them.
They had the trailer, but with Japanese subtitles. So I just hope they were just trolling us and have the full Japanese trailer with the Japanese characters.
No, we'll just have to see. But I think that's it for this video. Let us know what you think. Maybe what if you're completely, the opposite? What if you absolutely love the changes? Let us know in the comments, and like and subscribe to us.
And one question. Well, this is for the viewers. How do you guys will feel? This is a question that I want to ask. Like, how you guys will feel if, let's say, your favorite anime character with your main cast, and they suddenly make a change, like a gender swap into it? Will you be happy with it? Will you not be happy with it, and why or not? I just kind of curious. Wanted to know what will be the reaction.
Yeah, I think that'd be good, and also think of the repercussions, especially when gender does play a role in being a saint. And so, yep, let us know. Thanks so much for listening. This is David the Smash Fan with Hipster Paul, and this is Chibi no Podcast.